It's our favorite time of the week. It's Faith Friday, and we're very excited to have our next guest with us. He's a widely respected pastor and an award-winning author who has just released his second book called Good and Beautiful and Kind, Becoming Whole in a Fractured World, and he's here to tell us all about it. Please, everyone, welcome Rich Villodas of the New Life Fellowship Church. Pastor Rich, thank you for being with us.
So good to be here.
I was reading my notes that my producer gave me, and apparently just 7 years ago, you say writing a book was not even on your radar, and here we have book number 2. When did things change, and why was it important to you to put your thoughts down in a book where everyone can read them?
Yeah, you know, some folks write out of passion, some out of pain. I write out of pastoral urgency. I'm a pastor of a church just 7 miles from here in Queens, a beautiful church called New Life, as you mentioned, and we have folks from over 75 nations represented, 123 languages spoken in the nearby neighborhood. And because of that diversity, it's beautiful, but it's also very difficult when you get that many different people together. And so I wanted to write something that would help us navigate the terrain of the hostility that we're seeing in our world.
Wow. And the title of your book, as you say, Good, Beautiful, and Kind, you say poet Langston Hughes influenced that title. Tell me how.
Yeah, I've been a student of Hughes for a number of years, and one day I came across a poem he wrote called Tired, and I thought, yeah, that's a good poem for the age we're in. And he said, the poem goes like this. He says, I am so tired of waiting, aren't you, for the world to become good and beautiful and kind. Let us take a knife and cut the world in two and see what worms are eating at the rind. And what Hughes does in that poem is he names the longings of our soul, the ache of our soul for goodness. We all long for goodness. We all long for beauty. We all long for kindness. But what I love what he does is he says we need to take a knife and cut the world in two. And when he says that language, he's not talking about further division. It's the language of depth. We have to look beneath the surface. There's some worms that are eating away at goodness and beauty and kindness. And so that poem really resonated in me, especially for the moment that we're in.
You say that you believe we carry that fractured world and some of that pain, or the worms maybe that Langston Hughes described, in our bodies. And all that stress, we're taking it with us. Why do you think we do that, and how do we get rid of it?
Yeah, you know, the last couple of years, there's an acronym that I've been using to help us describe the world we're in, and it's just, we're in a CPR world. And by CPR, it's, you know, our hearts are ailing, we're having a hard time breathing, and it's an acronym for a world that's the convergence of COVID, political hostility, racial division. And when you have the convergence of those three forces together, it's going to lead to some wear and tear on our bodies, wear and tear on our souls. And as people of faith, we must pay attention to our bodies. As a Christian, the body's very important. Christ resurrected bodily, and that's very important to us in our faith. And so paying attention to it really begins with paying attention to our body. We believe that the body is a major prophet, not a minor prophet. That is, it often speaks very loudly and knows what's happening before our minds can catch up. And so one of the ways we do that is by simply taking inventory of our anxiety and what's happening in our bodies.
Oh, that's so true. Well, we are going to ask you, as we do all our Faith Friday guests, to lead us into the weekend with some words of wisdom and inspiration. You've already given us a lot to work with, but the floor is yours.
You know, as I mentioned, we're in this world the last couple of years that has led to wear and tear. Our bodies are exhausted, our minds are fatigued. Maybe we've made some decisions in our lives that we're just feeling guilty about. And when I look at the scriptures, there's really 4 phrases that are repeated throughout. And I think this is a good encouragement as we go into the weekend. 4 phrases that God speaks in the scriptures throughout, and is, I love you, don't be afraid, I am with you, you can come home. And I think people need to hear that on a regular basis. God loves them. You don't have to be afraid. God is with you, and you can come home.
That is beautiful. Pastor Rich Villodas, thank you so much for being with us today. And we want to tell everyone you can get Good and Beautiful and Kind, Becoming Whole in a Fractured World, wherever books are sold. That was a wonderful way to head into the weekend. Thank you again.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.